Hi guys, Ben here from carpfishingguide.com. Today in this video I want to be talking to you a little bit about rigs, and I'm also going to be asking you what sort of rigs you use, why do you use them, what sort of situations determine what sort of rig you'll go for. I've also got a few of my own rigs here which I'm going to show you, and I'll explain to you why I use them. To start off with, I'm going to go to my mainstay Carp rig, and this rig is called a Combi Rig. It's called a Combi Rig because it's made of a combination of materials. The first part of the material is the fluorocarbon boom. This is a 20-pound fluorocarbon, so it's quite a stiff sort of material. And at the other end I've got a braided section, which is where my hook is, and also I've got that sort of blowback style, so it's got a rig on it, a rig ring on it, so which basically leaves the bait to move a little bit more freely. Just a little bit of tungsten putty there, just to sort of nail it down, and actually also cover up the knots which is underneath there, which is called the Albright knot. Really strong whipping style knot, basically, which is a great one to do to connect two hook link materials together. So that's the Combi Rig. I use that generally if I'm using sort of gravelly section, lake, or fishing gravelly lakes, etc. The reason why I use this is because this stiff boom section actually pushes and kicks that baited end away from the lead, and why it's good is because obviously, you know, sometimes it can be all tangled up like that at the bottom of the lake. This way it's just kicked straight out, and actually what I do like to use is like something like a bit of PVA foam or anything like that as well, just a little nugget on the end, masking the hook up. Basically that'll just sit nicely and float. Once the PVA foam disintegrates, that'll just sit down and plod on nicely onto the bottom. So one to look at there. The next one I'm going to show you is a advanced pop-up rig. Now this pop-up rig is one I'm really sort of trying out at the moment. It's not, as it were, a finished article. I'm having problems getting out of my box here, so sorry. It's not a finished article, but it's one that I'm testing out at the moment. Now, first thing you'll probably notice about this is that this has not been tied on with like a whipping style or, you know, knotless knot style. What it has been tied on, how it connects the hook up, sorry, is by this sort of loop that goes round and over the hook. Now there's a reason for doing it this way. Firstly is I can change the hook really quickly. So just by looping that back round and over onto the round the hook, I can actually change the hook really quickly. The second point to this is that actually what this does, it creates the D for my rig ring. Now, so you're thinking, well, hold on, that's not a rig ring. That is not, and I'll try and get a bit closer. What that is a little gadget made by a company called Rig Morale, and I absolutely love this. If you do chod rigs or any sort of pop-up rigs, this is my favourite bit of kit, basically. What this is what they call a ball ring, and basically it sits as an awl ring down the bottom, and it has like a screw thread on the top. So for any of you who've got sort of fat fingers, etc., or just generally don't like bait flossing bait on, this is absolutely ideal. You just take your pop-up and screw it on, and it'll bore through the pop-up, and basically it won't affect it at all, and basically it just sits up, and you can change your bait basically really quickly. So that is, for me, it's just an awesome bit of kit. Curl shank hook, basically tied off the bottom there. I'll put a little shot on. You can also use stuff like you know, like a tungsten putty, etc. And I've also put a little sinker on the end there just to nail that whole thing down. And as a pop-up rig, I think that is pretty cool. I mean, I've tested this out in my my little sort of test tank, as it were, and it sits perfectly. The hook just sits absolutely poised and ready to get straight into the mouth of a carp. Absolutely awesome rig, and I've caught good fish on this so far. I won't say I've actually caught big fish, but to be honest with you, that's probably the lake I chose recently. that I haven't actually caught big fish on it, but I tell you what, the hook holds on there right centre of the lip, and I'm dead happy with that. So I'm looking forward to taking it on to some of the bigger lakes that I use. Another sort of rig which I enjoy using, and especially if, I mean, where I live there's a lot of silty lakes, and with silty lakes my habit is to use an incredibly long hook length. That is like a foot long, 12 inches long hook length there. Pretty long hair, but I like to use sort of big baits as well, and a relatively small hook as well. It's a size 8 curve shank. Really simple rig this, and the reason why I use it is I follow the philosophy of one of my angling, as it were, heroes is Darryl Peck, and he uses a very simplistic way of fishing. There's no complications, there's no risk or anything like that. It's all sort of simplistic fishing, and it works incredibly well for him. And I like to try and do a similar sort of style sometimes, to just go right back down to basics and just do a simple rig. You speak to people like Ian Russell as well. He's another fan of just very simplistic fishing. You don't need to go sort of super fandango, ultimate combi rigs, blah blah, to actually catch big fish. As I say, this rig really simple. It's just a braided section, and then whipping knot with a hair. Really simple, and that will catch you fish day and night, basically all the time. So definitely worth trying out, you know, if you're not feeling confident, etc. The reason why I use a big long hook link like that is generally if I'm fishing silty waters, it just means that it's got more chance of getting away from the lead, basically. So that's why I use a long hook link. Lastly, I'm going to show you is one of my old mainstays, and that is the simple blowback rig. Now the blowback rig is basically the same as what I showed you before, but this actually has a rig ring on it, and again, like the Combi Rig which I showed you originally, it just means that the bait can move around a bit more freer and a bit more natural, as it were. So when it's picked up by a carp, it doesn't feel too weighted or anything like that. It's got a bit more of a natural movement to it. To add to that, I've actually got a bit of shrink tubing on there, which I will, when I get to the bank, basically I'll put that underneath the kettle and just curve that under a nice aggressive sort of style like that, basically, and that just means that that'll turn a lot easier. And you see a lot of if you watch any DVDs or videos, you know, they always do this sort of pulling over the hand trick, and as you see, you know, this will work. It'll just turn in like that, so I can get it on camera. It'll turn in and just really quickly turn that. So basically that'll be why you add something like that. So basically when it goes into the mouth, it'll flip into the right section, i.e. the bottom lip of the carp. So there's a little view of the rigs that I use on a day-to-day basis. I'd like you to comment, put the comments in the box below, and let me know what sort of rigs you use and why you use them. It'd be really great to share that with obviously the community, etc., and let them know as well sort of what sort of rigs you use. So I look forward to seeing those, and I'll do my best to reply to every single one of them. If you like this video, I hope you did. Don't forget to check out my website, www.carpfishingguide.com, and while you're there, don't forget to download my free report on my 20 top tips to help stop you blanking. My name's Ben, Tight Lines.